Well, good morning to you. Good morning to you. Good morning. It is indeed an excellent day to serve an excellent God in and with the spirit of excellence. Good morning, Coach Sherry Chaplain Sherry, your community pastor Sherry. Sherry from the 800 block of Mooney Avenue, the unmuted one. Good morning to my space. Good morning. Indeed, I for those who are coming in who may be veterans, I want to wish you a happy Veterans Day. I know that on the calendar it was yesterday, but guess what? We salute you every day. We salute you every day. Again, Coach Sherry, Chaplain Sherry, your community pastor Sherry from the 800 block of Mooney Avenue, the unmuted one. I help women. I help women to speak up for themselves, to speak up for their people, and to speak up for their God. Good morning. But guess what? Everyone is welcome in this space. It is indeed a free space. All I ask is that you like, share, tag. Like, share, tag someone from your circle, your clique, or your crew. And let me just tell you, we all got a circle, we all have a clique, and we all have a crew. But bring them into to this space. Good morning. If this is your first time dropping into this space, I need to let you know while you may be seeing me apply makeup, that this has nothing to do with makeup tools, tips, or techniques. So, however it ends up, that's the way it ends up. Because what I've decided is I am going to decide what's good enough for me to get out of the door. Sure, there probably could be other things that I could do or other things that I should do, but when I finish, I'm finishing at a point where I say it's good enough. It's good enough for me. So before we get started for our conversation today, I do want to remind you about the Advent service. The Advent service is going not service, but 4-week study. Jesus born into a world like ours. We're going to take a look at the world in which Jesus was born in, and I'm going to. Um, push the point, I'm going to argue the point that Jesus' world in the Roman Empire was not much different from our world today. And what is it that we can learn from the baby born in Bethlehem, but born into a world of oppression, born into a world of oppression? So come on in this morning. And let us get started with our conversation. Let's get started with our conversation. We have been talking about what it means to unmute yourself, right? To unmute yourself, to speak up for yourself. And on Monday, we began looking at the Syrophoenician woman. We began looking at the Syrophoenician woman in Matthew 15. We began with the 23rd verse, and we know that this Syrophoenician woman showed up in a space that she should not have been in. She showed up in a space that she should not have been in, and she was not welcome there. But she showed up anywhere. Good morning. If this is your first time joining me, good morning. Come on in and uh show your manners, show your home training, say good morning. You know, when we enter a room, we enter saying good morning. So come on in the room and let us know who is in this space with us. Let us know who's in this space with us. So, so she shows up in a space that she should not have been in. I'm talking about the Syrophoenician woman. I'm talking about the woman, the Canaanite. And then when we really looked at the text, because that's why it's always good to read the text, right? I contend that the reason why we have the situations that we have with this toxic theology is that we do not read the text. We count on the stories that we've already heard, and we just keep perpetuating bad theology. We keep perpetuating. If our Sunday school teacher told us, if our pastor told, if our uh, mothers, grandmothers, aunties, whoever told it to us, we will take it to our grave without using our own critical thinking skills. So she showed Jesus is the one really who is in a Gentile territory. Jesus is in, so if anything, Jesus is away from his home base. She's where she's supposed to be. He is away from his home base. And so she shows up and she says, Son of David, have mercy on me. She not only shows up, she speaks up because she believes that what she needs, Jesus has it. So she shows up when society says that she shouldn't, with her status, her gender, her ethnicity, all of these things were against her. Yet she showed up. And not only does she show up, but she speaks up. I'm talking about the Syrophoenician woman, the Canaanite, the black woman shows up and she does. She does what she does. She does what we do, especially when we believe that we can find help. And here's the thing, she doesn't necessarily want help for herself, she needs help for her daughter. And that's what we do. When we show up, we not only get for ourselves, we get for the neighborhood, right? When that commodity will show up, you know, that commodity cheese and all of the things, we had a whole list of people who we needed to take back to, because that's what freedom is. That's what liberation is. It is not just privilege for ourselves. Can I need us to understand that? Because if only you want for yourself, you want privilege and you don't want liberation for the whole. And so that's what woman is. That's our core tenet, that we are seeking the wholeness of the entire community. So she is not pushing against the boundaries for herself, but for her daughter, for her future. Because she knows if her daughter is healed, then her future is healed. So she's in a place, she shows up, and then she speaks up. But here's another thing, she refuses to be dismissed. She says, I'm going to stand flat foot here until I get what I need. And here's the thing, it does not mean that she was not afraid. There are times when we have to do things and we have to do them afraid. We cannot afford to allow fear to paralyze us. And so She says, look, son of David, Jesus says, I was sent only to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. But she came and knelt before him, saying, Lord, help me. He answered, it is not fair to take the children's bread and throw it to the dogs. Ooh, what is Jesus saying? Good morning, Tracy. What is Jesus saying? What is Jesus saying? Mary's baby. What is he saying? It appears to me that Jesus is trying to dismiss this woman. You mean to tell me Jesus? Good morning, Ronnie. Good morning. Good morning. Listen, I need y'all to go ahead on and share, like, tag, all of those kinds of things, because here there are many times that we show up in spaces that society says that we shouldn't show up in. This Syrophoenician woman in Matthew 15:24 and 26, she has already said, Son of David, have mercy on me. And Jesus, instead, this time he didn't say, daughter, what you need. He did not say, your faith is, he didn't say anything. Jesus said, look, I didn't even come for you. Jesus said that. Jesus said that. I didn't even come for you. And in other words, Jesus dismisses her. Let's be honest. This is one of those scriptures that just does not make sense. This is one of those scriptures that we certainly need to talk back to. Because over here in this space, we talk back to the text. We talk back to Jesus, and we talk back to God because we use our critical thinking skills. The Jesus we meet here in Matthew 15 with this black woman, this Syrophoenician, this Canaanite woman, this isn't our Sunday school Jesus. This isn't our even hanging on the cross Jesus. He's not holding children and blessing the children and multiplying bread. He's silent, he's distant, and he's dismissive. It may be uncomfortable to you, but this is what we need to see. This is in the text. Set the scene again. Set the scene again. Jesus, a Jew, is in a Gentile territory. This woman who has everything against her, he has gender against her, she has her social status against her, cultural, all of these things, and she shows up because you over here in my territory. And she does the unthinkable. She approaches Jesus. We're talking about unmuting ourselves. We are talking about speaking up for ourselves because nobody is going to save us. If there is a need, we have to speak up. But we have been culturally and socially taught to keep your business to yourself, not to speak your need. But if I know that you can help me, why wouldn't I speak up? Because they told us the Lord would work it out. Well, how does the Lord work it out, God, if God doesn't work it out through people? But in this uncomfortable space, the Syrophoenician woman does not move. Can I just get you to drop in the comment section? She stayed right there. I talk back. She stayed but she stayed right there. She didn't budge. I hear what you're saying, but I ain't going nowhere. I know that there's everything that's stacked up against me. I'm not going anywhere. You're dismissing me, but I ain't going nowhere. I'm going to stay right here because you have what I need. You can heal, and my daughter needs healing. She didn't move. She planted herself and she refused to allow rejection to define her encounter. Let me tell you something. I see you. Thank you, Tracy. Thank you, Ronnie. I see you. She stayed right there. Ain't nothing worse than being rejected. Many people do not go forward because they fear rejection. And nobody wants to feel as though they don't belong or they are not wanted. She refuses to walk away empty. And let me tell you something about us Black women. If we could tell all the times that we've been dismissed, overlooked, while they are passing out promotions, we've got the qualification. And they will go over us and even sometimes under us. But not this time. She refuses to walk away empty. We know what it feels to be overlooked, and we still find a way to stand our ground. This is faith that refuses to disappear quietly. So Jesus says, I was sent only to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Now, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Jesus, human, we love his divinity, but we've got to look at he was in a world. He was a product of his environment. He says, I was sent only to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. This reflects the mindset of his time. There is this boundary between insider and outsider. You're either in the circle or you're out of the circle. Jew and Gentile, there were clear lines. Samaritans and Jews, there were clear lines. So in this moment, Jesus voices the tension between his mission and mercy. Can I tell you, sometimes we are so caught up in the mission that we miss offering mercy to those in our presence. He's caught up between the limits of cultural expectation and the limitless love of God. For this woman, his words this could have been the end of the conversation. She could have said, yes, sir. She could have engaged in respectability uh, politics, a conversation that says, okay, sir, you're right. The Lord will make a way. I'm going to get mine in the by and by. You know how we use all that churchy language? But this time, she refuses. She refuses to be dismissed. She refuses to be dismissed. Here's also what we need to see here, that she doesn't argue theology. She doesn't go into scripture. She doesn't go into the law. She doesn't go into all of those things. She doesn't go into a whole lot of God talk. But what she does is demonstrates it. What she does is she stays there and she models what it means for grace to be bigger than geography. Oh, I need to ask us, how many times do we put boundaries over grace? How many times do we put status, economic status, gender, ethnicity, sexual orientation, any of the things that we have decided are in and outs? And we refuse to offer grace or mercy because for us, our boundaries are bigger. But what this woman, this Canaanite, this Syrophoenician, this black woman shows us is that grace is bigger than geography. Aren't you glad about it? Aren't you glad about it? Because if the truth be told, if the truth be told, there are boundaries that have tried to keep us out. And when you think about it, the places that we have found ourselves, our ethnicity, our gender, our social status, should not have even allowed us in the place. But God. I need us to say, but God, this morning. If God operated like that, where will we be? Now there are people who are trying to and that's why I'm just weary. I'm just kind of like, I have a problem with that. And I'm gonna just stay right there. But at this point, grace is bigger than geography. She says, I hear all of that. I hear all of what you're saying. The next part says, but she came and knelt before him, saying, I hear what you're saying, but Lord help me. I hear what you're talking about, but Lord help me. I'm standing in front of you, a Gentile woman. She kneels before him as strategy, not as a point of submission at this time, not as weakness, but strategy. I hear what you're saying, but I'm going to bow anyway. I'm going to worship anyway. Huh. Jesus basically has called her dog. He says, I came for the house of Israel, the lost sheep of Israel. But she stayed there. Her posture of worshiping is what womanist theologians call embodied resistance. She uses posture and prayer and persistence as acts of protest and faith. She hears what he says, but she bows anyway. She prays anyway, Lord, help me. And she does it as an act of resistance. I know that you say that I'm not even supposed to have this, but I'm bowing anyway. And I want to tell us today, because I need to go and finish this phase, that sometimes the most powerful stance is not standing tall, but kneeling in conviction. Kneeling not to surrender, but to stay in the conversation long enough until heaven hears you. Do not allow do not allow rejection. You know, we read about what is it? Jacob said, I ain't going nowhere until you bless me. We're gonna stay right here and wrestle until you bless me. With this Syrophoenician woman, this Canaanite woman, this black woman, I ain't going nowhere. I'm gonna stay in this conversation until you bless me. Listen, I don't know what room you're in that you're not supposed to be in. I don't even know what your need is. And I don't know the many ways that people have tried to dismiss you. Not only people, but institutions. You can come in the door, but you're going to be in that corner. You can sit at this table, but you're not going to say anything. And then when you do have something that can move the mission forward, they'll take your idea and give it to somebody else. And when you see it again, your name won't be in the way attached, but you stay right there. I, I, I don't even know where you are, but if you're living, you've been there. And here's what I want to end with today. Don't leave. Stay right there. Keep showing up. Keep praying. Keep pushing it back against systems. Because it is systems. It is the system that even caused Jesus. It is the system of the in and out. The Jew and Gentile, the this versus that, the us versus them. And might I add that it is the systems, even of today, that are created to keep us out, to keep us quiet. I don't care if it is a religious system of patriarchy. I don't care if it is a social system, a cultural system, whatever it is. Keep pushing back against the systems that deny your dignity. Because the same God who seems silent will speak up. And when God speaks, barriers fall. So here's our question for today. Here's our question. When have you felt dismissed by people or institutions, and how did you respond? When have you felt dismissed by people or institutions, and how did you respond? Did you leave, or did you stand flat-footed until you got what you needed? Listen, y'all be blessed, and may all be well with your day. Bye-bye.